welcome back to the Left in the Past, and we're back to another video. Today I'm at Bonaventure Cemetery in Savannah, Georgia, and I've come to visit the grave of Edward Telfair, an American founding father and also a Georgia governor. Edward Telfair was one of the many Scotsmen who settled in Georgia during the mid-18th century. Born in 1735 on his family's ancestral estate in southwestern Scotland, he only received an elementary school education before taking a job with a firm of merchants. In 1758, in his early 20s, Edward set sail for the English colonies in America with his brother William and a cousin. He first settled in Virginia, representing the Scottish firm he was employed by, and then moved to North Carolina, and finally resettled in Georgia, where he joined his brother William in Savannah in 1766. 2 years after his arrival in Savannah, Edward entered the political arena of the Georgia colony. In 1768, he was elected to the Commons House of Assembly as a delegate from St. Paul Parish, where he owned land. In 1774, he married Sarah Gibbons, and together they had 7 children, 4 sons, and 3 daughters. In 1775 through 1783, Edward became involved in the revolutionary struggle against England's King George III, and he joined the Sons of Liberty, a group of artisans and shopkeepers who protested the Stamp Act and other royal declarations. When news of the New England battles of Lexington and Concord reached Savannah, Edward joined Joseph Habersham, Noble Jones, and John Millage and other Liberty boys in breaking into the Royal Magazine and making off with 600 pounds of powder. In 1778, Edward was elected into the Continental Congress, and he was a member until 1783. While in Congress, he was one of the Georgia signers of the Articles of Confederation. In May of 1791, shortly after Edward took office for his second term as governor, U.S. President George Washington visited Georgia. As President Washington and his entourage approached Augusta, Edward and most of the principal men of the city officially greeted the president on the road outside of town and escorted him to the Capitol. That afternoon, Edward and his wife entertained Washington at an elegant dinner held at the Grove, their Augusta residence. Sarah Telfair, which was his wife, was also the hostess at a ball at Richmond Academy later that evening, which President Washington attended. Edward died on September 17, 1807, at a Savannah townhouse. His body was taken to the Savannah Colonial Cemetery, where a religious service was held and military honors were performed. He was buried in the family vault at his Sharon plantation near Savannah, and in the year of Edward's death, Telfair County was created and named in his honor. Years later, his remains would be removed to Bonaventure Cemetery in Savannah, where they are now, and in the year 1860, his surviving daughters erected a memorial to their father's memory. During Edward Telfair's life, he became a famous, honorable, and accomplished politician and prominent citizen of Georgia, while serving 3 terms as Georgia governor, becoming a successful merchant in colonial Georgia, being a planter where he owned many enslaved people, operating a water-driven sawmill in Burke County, supplied by his vast holdings of timberland, as well as being a signer of the Articles of Confederation, being a member of the Sons of Liberty, meeting and hosting U.S. President George Washington to a dinner, as well as being a husband and father to 7 children, and the many other accomplishments he had during his political career, such as being an American founding father, making Edward Telfair go down in Georgia history. And this is the memorial that was erected in 1860 by his surviving daughters to remember his memory. His memorial reads, "In memory of Edward Telfair of Georgia, who died September 17, 1807, age 64, and of his sons Edward Telfair, Josiah G. Telfair, Thomas Telfair, and Alexander Telfair." In the back of the stone reads, "In memory of Sarah Telfair, widow of Edward Telfair, and of their daughters, Sarah G. Haig, widow of Captain George Haig, USA, Margaret T. Hodgkin, widow of William B. Hodgkin, and Mary Telfair." Okay, that's me all for today, guys. Hope you did enjoy that video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it and also subscribe down below if you haven't already, because it helps me out a whole lot and it's also free. So definitely do that if you have already. Hope you did enjoy this video. Hopefully you enjoyed the story I was able to tell of Edward here, because he is really cool and I found him yesterday. Did not know he was buried here, so I just thought it was a pretty interesting story to come and see him and tell about him. But with all that said, thank y'all so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.